Dr. Peters, welcome to the show, or should I say Vanessa?
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Thank you. Thank you. So I'm going to do an intro for you after we hang up, but I think your journey just fits perfectly for what we're trying to encourage people to do here at the W2 Capitalist movement, right? And I'm saying I had somebody ask me the other day, hey, what's a W2 Capitalist? And I started thinking, I was like, it's multiple things, right? It's the community, it's the person, it's the movement, it's the podcast. There's a lot that goes into it. But the ultimate thing is it's trying to encourage people to invest while they're still working. And you've done that for quite some time, right? So you've been a physician. You're still practicing?
I am.
Awesome. I want to talk into that. But you've been a primary physician for 17 years, investing in real estate for 11?
12 years.
12 years now. So there's a lot I want to dive into. And I really don't know where to start. And you're probably thinking, yeah, you just woke up from your Sunday afternoon nap, so why would you, right? But I want to ask you, what started it 12 years ago? So I'm trying to think where I was 12 years ago. What caused you to start looking into real estate investing?
Yeah. I always liked real estate. When I was vacationing with my family as a kid, I was always stopping at the little shops that had the real estate advertisements in the windows and like, hey, how much does property cost when you're in Florida or when you're in Hawaii or wherever? And I always dreamed of like owning multiple homes and things like that. So it's always interested me, but I went down a different path. Obviously, I'm a physician, and when it actually happened rather by accident, I ended up with 2 single-family homes. And one of them was I was an accidental landlord because I got divorced and then moved out of that house and into the house that I live with now with my current husband. But that happened in 2007 when that switch was made. So the house was deep underwater at that point because I, like everybody else, had treated my home as an ATM and didn't know any better. So the house was highly leveraged. And so it was a couple $100,000 underwater. So I had to rent it out at that point. I felt I didn't have a choice. I didn't know too much about short sales or real estate, anything like that. But the right thing to do would be to try and get renters in there. And unfortunately, I had to feed it about $1,500 a month to, because the rent just didn't cover it.
Yeah.
So then a year later, a real estate friend of mine, I had expressed some interest in real estate, and he said that the market was, low, and the county just north of us, I'm in San Diego County, the county north of us is called Riverside County. He said, the Inland Valley is going to do amazing, in 8 years or so, you should buy up there. And so I trusted him. I bought a large single family home up there for pretty darn cheap as a short sale. And that was the kind of the quote unquote end of my real estate investing career at that point, because I jumped on pretty early, and then the market continued to drop for like 3 more years. And whenever I looked at the value of my new home, it had gone down, and I was like, oh, maybe that wasn't the right thing to do. And unfortunately, I wasn't as educated regarding it as I could have been if I had dived in, but I was getting married, I had a baby, I was busy and I was working. So I pretty much left it and forgot it. I did end up doing a short sale on the home that was the accidental home in 2012. And that was a bummer because I fed it for so many years, and it was just going to take way too long. It probably is back to its original value now, maybe a little bit more, but that wasn't worth it.
Wasn't worth it. I mean, if you look at the numbers, you still, even though the value's there, you probably wouldn't have came out on top, right?
No, so, that's all the hassle of having the tenants and stuff, right? And fortunately, it's only a mile from here, but fortunately, though, the one up in Riverside has done extremely well. And so about 2 years ago, for some reason, I started getting excited about real estate again. And I think it was because I saw the house in Riverside County double. And I said, wow, this is awesome. Let's do that again.
Rinse and repeat, right?
Exactly. And so I had some extra money, and I was like, I really want to invest in real estate right now. And so started combing the area in around where I had the original house down here closer to me in North San Diego County, and was quite disappointed when I could see that, nothing was going to work. I went on Bigger Pockets. I did a lot of reading. I got their calculators, and the back of the napkin math kind of looked okay for some stuff. And then when I did in the the maintenance and the CapEx and the vacancy and all that. I was just like, oh, wow, nothing is going to cash flow. Maybe I'll get break even or $30 a
Yeah.
month. And I had a realtor friend trying to convince me that I had to feed something for a little while. I was like, no, I don't want to feed anything. So I started, I was pretty determined at that point. That's my nature. And so I had to find a way. So I went to meetups, found out that other California investors are doing out of state investing, turnkey
Mm.
type stuff. And so I looked into that a little bit, but that made me uncomfortable because I don't really want to be responsible for an actual house that's in another state that I can't
Yeah.
drive to.
Yeah.
And I don't, if I had like some family members somewhere, then that would be okay. But I didn't have anybody that I could really trust. So I kind of nixed that idea.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately for me, you're probably the only Californian that did that, because we run into California money all the time here in Pensacola.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, it's crazy. Like, to you guys, well, not you, but the other investors have kind of pushed us out. They've really pushed our market up to where we're in. I only have one property in Pensacola now. Out of our 320 something doors, there's only one up here in Pensacola. So, which is fine. It's good. It's
Yeah.
amazing that this is really, I've learned something a lot in the last couple of years about how my investing criteria, and specifically cap rate, as you get into larger multifamilies, doesn't necessarily mean that somebody else is looking for the same thing, right? A lot
Mm-hmm.
of folks who are in those higher markets that are only going to get a 2 cap rate, they're really excited when they see a 5 cap,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that's just, it's just interesting. So
Yeah, absolutely. Because they have a different opinion of how much real estate is worth. And so when they see the
yes,
lower values, they're like, wow, that's amazing. I'm going to buy that $100,000 house in Missouri and it's going to be awesome.
yeah,
But I just didn't like I'm pretty conservative with my money. I didn't care for that idea.
yeah.
And so I kept digging, doing more research. I'm like, there has to be a way. And on Bigger Pockets, I read about syndications. And at first, I had no idea what that was. I thought like maybe this was like a Seinfeld rerun
All
type thing.
right.
Like, why are they talking about syndication TV on Bigger Pockets? That doesn't make any sense. So
That's funny.
I called up an operator or two, and I spoke with them. And when they kind of laid it out for me and told me about it, I was floored, frankly, to hear the returns and
Yeah,
what it actually entailed. And I realized after doing some research and realizing this was actually true, and it wasn't some like scam or something,
yeah.
and it wasn't speculative like venture capital or something like that.
It wasn't flipping either, right? The flipping's
Right.
the sexy thing to do and all that stuff. Yeah,
Exactly, like
yeah,
flipping a luxury home or just doing something kind of like out there. It was pretty solid and made perfect sense to me. So I thought, well, I'm gonna try this because I'm an accredited investor, and I don't need to work my way up through small multifamily and single family homes to roll it and 1031 it. First of all, I'm in my 40s and I don't feel like I have a ton of time. I don't want to
yeah,
work. I'm not 25 years old and getting started. So I figured I was kind of like leapfrog over all that, just go straight to syndications. And so I started, I took out as much as I could from my 401k. Um, that was a rollover, and created a solo 401k, invested all of that money, as well as any bonuses and any extra cash I had lying around.
yeah.
So, yeah, so now
And
I'm in like, I think 9 different syndications.
awesome. So how do you? So let's tap into that a little bit. How do you get to know and get to trust the sponsors for the deal, or the general partners for the deal, to say yes, I will invest with you? I have a kind of a rule of thumb that I need to know you for at least 6 months before I'm going to do anything with you. I don't know why. That has been kind of my timetable for every deal I've been involved in.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a group. They're out of. I'm not going to give you the name of them because we're recording. I'll give it to you afterwards. But it's like a REIT. They're trying to do some crowdfunding stuff,
Uh-huh.
and they hit me up and like, hey, can you introduce us to your audience, and we'll give you some equity in the company, blah blah blah. And because we're
Mm-hmm.
trying to do another round of funding, we're trying to raise 15 million this time. And I was like, yeah, that's fine, but look, let's talk. Let me get to know you. I've told them my rule, 6 months
Mm-hmm.
minimum, and now they will not leave me alone. They've called me about once a day for the
Wow.
last couple of weeks. And the last message, or I think the last thing I looked up on them, is they're trying to complete this last round of funding in February. I'm like, here we are. It's February the 2nd or whatever. I'm like,
Yeah.
doesn't fit. So so I'm kind of just ignoring those guys and
Yeah.
going about my business. But how do you evaluate a syndicator to know, okay, my money, because you do sound very conservative. By the way, we have a very similar start and what I like to call false start, right?
Mm,
Because I bought my first, and I'm using air quotes, investment property in 2006. I ended up holding on to it for about 10 years, and it was I was dumping money into it every month. Not
mm,
1,500, it was like $300 a month I was dumping into it to cover everything. Not like $1,500 a month, but it was still very,
mhm,
excuse me, very similar stories. But how do you get to know a syndicator or somebody who's sponsoring a deal
mm.
to eliminate those risks, right? Those fear factors, especially in the first one or two, because that once you get that first deal or two under your belt, you start to feel a little bit more comfortable about the process and all that. Does that make sense? What I'm
Oh,
asking?
absolutely. Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's been my strategy, is to get a few solid operators, and then I don't have to worry about doing due diligence on new people all the time.
Yeah.
So initially, my due diligence for my very first deal, I was still a bit concerned. I didn't know these people too well, but the returns looked great. The whole pro forma looked great. But I was going to give them $50,000, and so I flew out to Dallas and I met them in person. I toured the property, met the property manager, and just basically got a gut check by meeting them and
Yeah.
talking face to face. Also, I did criminal background checks on everybody.
Oh, you did?
So you know,
Yeah.
I was being a little suspicious, I guess, and I just want to know that they were who they said they were. And you have to pay for a criminal background check, but I felt like it was worth it.
Yeah.
And then
Now,
now I
did
can
you tell them that you were doing a criminal background
no,
check
I
on them?
didn't. I didn't, because you to do it, you need to get their social, or their actually it's their date
Right.
of birth that you need. And so I really just did more like detective work, because they
Gotcha.
had mentioned the name of their wife. And so then I'm like, okay, well, that's him for sure. And yes,
Yeah.
that's his wife's name. He's about that age, and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
Look at you, Detective Peters.
yeah, right. I'm in the wrong
But
field.
no, but I mean, it does make sense if you, I mean, you're about to hand them some money, right? And you don't want them
Yeah.
to run away. So,
And the first time, I think, is the hardest. The first
absolutely.
time you wire this like large chunk of money, and you're like, oh my God, did it just get like diverted into some weird bank account, and for like a what's like Bernie Madoff scheme or something like that. Uh,
Yeah. Wiring money still gives me the adrenaline rush. And like the moment it goes out or I leave the bank, I'm calling whoever I'm sending it to saying, hey, did you get it? Did you get it yet? Did you get it yet? They're like,
Wait till
no.
tomorrow.
Yeah. It'll be there at 2 o'clock or we'll
But
wait 24
a
hours.
check is worse. I had an investor mail a check over the holidays, and it practically got lost. So
Oh,
it's like
geez.
checks aren't better.
No,
Wiring
you're
is
not.
way more secure. But yeah, so trust in the operator is huge. Looking at their track record, I'm not going to invest with someone who it's their first deal unless they're a friend and I'm just going to give them a little bit of money to try it out.
Yeah.
But I always invest before I ask investors to invest with this operator, because I want to try them out. Like you said, get to know them. If you're going to take it to your audience or your investors, you want to make sure that they're legit, that they have good communication,
Yeah.
and that their deals are going to go as they say they're going to go. So I have like 4 operators that I work with, and that kind of keeps the deal flow going. I'm looking for more, but I do like the larger operators that work in the larger markets as well.
And if I did my homework correctly, 2,500 doors in 9 properties across 4 states.
At least 4 states, yeah, because
Okay.
one of those is a fund, and that's where the doors is so large. But they're in, like, I think 5 states in the Southeast.
Gotcha.
So, yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah, but mostly Phoenix, mostly Arizona, Texas, and Florida would be the top 3 states.
And do you have any single family homes in your portfolio now? I
Yeah,
noticed you like mobile home parks, which is
yeah,
a hot topic for people to talk about.
yes,
So,
yeah. I have just 1 single family home right now,
okay,
and that's
very
the one
cool.
that I've got up here in Riverside County, and I've leveraged it. It has a lot of equity, so I leveraged it with a HELOC, and so I'm utilizing that to do more investing.
That's awesome. It is such an amazing tool. We've done that a couple of times now where we leverage our homemaker line of credit. It's just people still don't understand it. I'm like, where have you been? What rock have you been under? Like, how do you
I
not
think,
know?
I think people are a little, they're a little scared about what happened in 2008 if they were around and as a homeowner then. And I
Yeah.
understand even with a HELOC on my primary and my investment property, I'm only at 60, 62 LTV. So I'm
Okay.
okay. Yeah.
That's good. So what do you, when you talk to folks, cause you have a, VMD investing, right? Which is where are you sponsoring deals now or,
Well, I'm a co-GP on
okay.
with these these operators that I know well. They're the ones who are sourcing the deal and who are operating the deal. They're the key principals. I'm a co-GP, which just means that that I'm basically doing investor education, bringing in a group of investors and providing all of their follow-up and providing them with the numbers and answering any questions that they have. So I'm the liaison.
Right.
Um, and then I'm also just I usually try and visit the properties when I can and review the underwriting and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. How often there's so many different questions I have. The reason why I have so many different questions, I'm going to give you a little background on, on me. This is horrible. It's not horrible, but it's, it's weird for me to talk about myself, I guess. My previous job, I was a consultant, an IT consultant to the privately held healthcare industry.
Oh, okay.
So I dealt with a lot of doctors and CEOs and things of
Yeah.
that nature. So when I'm really excited to talk to you about that aspect because I never really crossed that line with those guys because a lot of
Mhm.
the folks that I dealt with, there was this ego mentality that I just didn't want to approach. Right. And I see you laughing
I
if
have
you're
no idea what you're talking
yeah,
about.
well, no. there's there's just and I get it, right? They see me as the IT guy.
Hmm.
What am I going to know about how I'm definitely not going to give them advice on how to I'm not going to take advice from somebody financial advice from somebody who's not doing better than I am financially, right? So
Sure.
I get it, right?
Sure.
And I'm making some not too dramatic assumptions that they're doing better financially than I am. But for you, you're kind of their peer, right? Which is really incredible. I hope to be able to get this into their hands so they can get introduced and they can connect with you and all that good stuff. But
Yeah.
what are some of the things that you run up against for people who are? Because I run into this with my peers, right? Is they're like, I get a lot of nicknames thrown at me like Junior Trump or, real estate
Mm-hmm.
mogul or something like that. Where,
Capitalist. Yeah. Hmm.
yeah. And that's, I'm like, man, if I could only trust you enough to show you what this has done for us financially, you would understand, you know,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
but until I go to that point or get comfortable providing that to them, what are some of the things that you help those folks who, doctors and non-doctors,
Hmm.
like get it, especially where we are in the cycle of the market, right? Because there's a lot of information out there. It seems like everybody's got a copy of this crystal ball that says we're headed for a correction or a
Yeah.
downturn, every how you want to classify it. How do you get those potential investors to how do you eliminate some of their risk and some of their concerns, right?
Sure.
Just as you had when you went through your first deal. I mean, you went and did criminal. I've never heard anybody do criminal background checks on syndicators before, but I think it's awesome.
Made sense at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now I'm a lot more relaxed. But
I'm sitting here wondering, okay, what did she look up on me? Not that there's anything out there, but
don't worry. Don't worry. I did look you up.
yeah.
Well, I seriously though, I have a lot of trouble with my peers. I don't really
Yeah.
approach it too much. I'm
Okay.
actually there's a couple that are on board and they're an amazing referral source for me.
Yeah.
But I think that doctors are really good at learning something. They're
Yeah.
being told something, and this is the way it is, and memorize it, and then go and do it. And that's what medicine frequently is. You just have to
Sure.
memorize. The body doesn't change. It's like this is the way it is, um, and then go and act on that. So they're very good learners. Um, but the people who've already got to them with the traditional methods, their
Yeah.
financial planners
Yeah.
or their CPA or whatever has told them, you must invest in your 401k
Yeah.
and you
The
must
stock market.
pay a lot of taxes And if you want a deduction, you should probably buy a gigantic house or something like that to get the tax deduction. So the information they've already been given isn't necessarily true. But when you go outside that box that they live in, they're
Yeah.
kind of rigid. They're kind of rigid folks, a lot of them, and they have an ego as well that is, I know best. And
Well,
so,
and that rigidness may be that ego, what I'm interpreting as the ego, right? Not necessarily they have an ego, but it's just like you just said, it's that's
mhm,
what they've been taught.
mhm,
They're doing okay financially, right? So why would they try to do anything else? Which
mhm.
I love is an aspect of what your book covers, is that you're not really trying to build more wealth. You're trying to buy time back,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So
Like,
which
what
is
are
a
we after here? What are we
yeah,
after here? Because you can
yeah,
always work harder and work longer hours and get more procedures done or see more patients.
yeah.
But for what?
Yeah, because most physicians don't have a very good home life or work life balance or whatever you want to call it, right? Home
Right.
life is probably not the correct tag, but the work life balance, because most of the guys that I was introduced or worked the closest to, they were cardiologist surgeons or orthopedic surgeons, stuff like that, where they're on call or that they're if they're not in the surgery room, they're in clinic, and it's just like, how do you guys have time to say hello to your wife or go to kids' baseball game or whatever? But
Mhm.
so two questions here really is how did you break out of that mold? Is it because you just always had this fascination of real estate when you're younger and it kind of led into that, or what kind of led to that for you to break the mold? Because even just talking to you here, I don't get that. It's probably inaccurate label, but that ego coming across as most I get from most physicians. But um, how did you break that mold? And then I forgot my other question, so answer that one, and I'll come back to
Got it.
it.
Well, I've always been pretty open-minded when it comes to earning and money.
Mm,
I was never an entrepreneur because I grew up in Canada, and it was really, okay, you're a smart kid, you can be a doctor or a lawyer. Those were kind of my two choices, and nobody around me was an entrepreneur, had any business experience. So
gotcha.
for me, I was like, okay, I want to earn a lot of money, and I'm good at science, and I like people, and this will work out well. I'll become a doctor. Um, law seemed, not my cup of tea, but but I always had it okay in the back of my mind. Okay, how can I earn more money? And when I moved down here from Canada for the weather mostly, but a side benefit is the taxes are improved. There's universal health care up there, and the taxes are 50%. Um,
Yeah, yeah,
and when I started here, though, I wasn't earning a lot, and I was kind of shocked too. I was like, wow, they're taking a lot of taxes. And so for me, an immediate return on investment is reducing your taxes, because that's money you get to keep right off the bat that you already earned. You don't have to
right.
wait for a syndication to sell, to get
Yeah.
that in 5 years. You can get it right now. So I've been with a tax planning team for about 12 years now, and they have helped me drastically. So
Yeah,
a corporation on the side and an S corp, and so that, I'm definitely open to the breaking the mold in terms of taxes as well as investing in real estate.
very cool. Yeah. I still didn't think of my second question, but
That's
we'll
okay.
we'll roll with it, right? So I will say this. I'll circle back to your comment about not asking your partners to invest with you or look at some deals with you. It makes me excited, maybe more or less relieved that if you're not doing it, then I would have just as much trouble or more trouble doing it. So that's and you're shaking your head yes. So that makes
Yeah.
me feel better.
Yeah. Absolutely. I think it's just that they don't put you in they put you in a different box. And even
Oh,
as the
definitely. Yeah,
even
yeah,
as the colleague, and I have a feeling that as I get a few more colleagues on board, it will snowball and be like,
yeah.
oh, well, she's doing something cool, and so are they. They don't want to be the first one.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, you
bit of
gotta find the
a
guinea
bit of
pig, right?
a herd mentality. It's like, oh, if
It
so and
is.
so is doing this and it's actually legit, then yeah, I'll give it a try.
Now, are you investing to obviously you're investing to get your time back, but are you investing to retire early as a lot of movements that we see now,
Right.
especially with bigger pockets, right?
I mean, that was never my plan. But you're right. You get into groups of people who that's their main goal is to get out of their W-2. And I was actually just on a panel for Multifamily Investor Nation last month with Dan Hanford. And the panel was called From W-2 to Full-Time Apartment Investor. And when they put me on that panel, I wrote them back. I'm like, I think this is the wrong panel for me because I'm still
Yeah.
working and I'm going to be in my office when I'm on the panel. So I won't be able to hide it, my office and the diplomas, So
Yeah. Yeah.
um, they're like, no, no, that's okay. It's for everybody in different levels of transition. But that's what drew me to your group, though, is the earn, invest, repeat. Because for one thing, I have a damn good source of capital. I
Yeah.
mean, if
Yeah.
I was going to leave my job, I don't want to do the fire thing where I have to be frugal for the rest of my life. If anything, I'll do fat fire where you have tons of money and you don't even care. But
I haven't
um,
heard of Fat Fire, but that's a pretty funny name.
I know. I'm more on board with that. So for now, my job is providing me with a great source of capital,
Yeah.
and my goal is to keep investing it as much as I can, and also compounding any distributions that I get from any kind of syndication, payouts to really get my net worth up to a point where I don't need to work anymore, but I could.
Yeah.
And then I think that takes the pressure off of I'm here 9 to 5 because
It
if I'm
so
not,
does.
I'm
Yeah.
going to lose my house. I'm going to, I won't be able to pay the bills. I won't be able to do this. I won't be able to do that. So I feel like the freedom that I'll get is going to be in a mindset. I'll have mental freedom. And then I can decide what I really, truly want to do. Right now,
Yeah.
I'm also the medical director of my group. So I have a lot of administrative work.
And the other thing that I hear is I don't have the money, which I do think it takes money to invest, right? And there's several different ways you can go about trying not to do it. And there's several different resources out there that'll show you how to do that. The W2 capitalist is not one of them. I mean, it's not my story. It's not what I started with. I'm just not that much of a hustler. But the other thing is what you just said is you have this uh, money generating engine that allows you to have that capital to do it. But when you get to a point where you start replacing that income, at least some of it, it is such a mental shift. Like I really enjoy going to work.
Mm,
I do, but and I think part of that is because I don't have to be there. Like, well, I actually have to be there, but I think you know what I mean. It's not necessarily before where I'm like, okay, if something happens, and how am I
mm,
going to provide for my kids and my family and all that stuff, and it's just not there anymore, and it's such a relief
mm,
that financial stress is now offloaded onto those investments that we have, those cash flowing assets that we have, which is huge.
mm.
But yeah, our stories are very similar. It's pretty eerie actually, but anyway, I love it. So here we are. This is February 2nd, 2020. What's in store for you this year? What are you trying to focus on?
I'm promoting my book right now. I wrote a book, The Busy Professional's Guide to Passive Real Estate Investing. Yep. And it's basically just a primer on investing in syndications. And for folks who don't know too much about it, kind of runs through explains, but it also talks about the why and sort of what we're really truly after, which isn't just to gain millions of dollars, it's to buy back our time and also use our time to its greatest effect. So
Yeah.
I learned too in this, because sometimes, like I said, when you're around the folks who are trying to just get out of their job, it's easy to almost jump on board and be like, yeah, I want to quit my job too. But then um, I don't want to work full time as an apartment investor either.
Right.
Uh,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
like I was trained in medicine and I went to school for like 9 years for that. So I can make good money doing that. And it's what I'm good at and I'm natural at it. Why would I give that, source of income up for another source of income where I have to kind of learn a lot of new things and have to hustle and be doing stuff that's like, I don't know how to like do the spreadsheets and stuff like that. That's not my thing. So it seems to me like I should continue to work earning a good income until I've got enough investments that I can back off or stop.
Yeah. I apologize if you can hear those kids in the background. You can't? Okay. It's so we have a 5-year-old, a 2-year-old, and an 8-month-old. And the 8-month-old, when she gets laughing, I mean, she just starts cracking up. She can't really turn it off. And I think they got her cracking up, and because the other kids kind of dive into that and kind of feed off of it. So there's a big laugh fest going on right now. Here. So I keep hitting mute. Hopefully it doesn't pick it up. I accidentally hit mute. I apologize if you can, but that's awesome. So let's talk about the book for a little bit. It seems to be. I do have a copy of it, but as I told you earlier, I haven't read the whole thing from cover to cover. But it seems to be a pretty quick read. It seems to be touches the high points, right? And it's
Hmm.
available on Amazon and everywhere, right?
Amazon. Hmm.
And you mentioned something right before, which I was not expecting, but you're going to actually give away the first few chapters of the book, right? For anybody
Yeah,
that
I have a sneak peek of the book at on my landing page, which is vmdinvesting.com/book, and there you can download the first few chapters. And if you like it, then you can pick it up on Amazon.
I definitely recommend it. And again, it's a pretty quick read, but
Hmm.
I love the title. I'm kind of jealous because I've gotten to this actually. I don't know if you can see that. Where's it at? Right there.
Oh yeah, uh-huh.
So that says write a book for 2020. So kind of jealous of your title. I'm gonna have to pick your brain.
I'm happy to help.
But this is your second book that you've released, right?
No, just the
That's
first.
first. Okay. Okay.
Mhm.
Um, apologies for the mix up there. That's a little weird for me. But I highly recommend it. I'll put that link in the show notes as well. So let's talk about VMD investing for a
Mhm.
minute. What is that? That is basically where you are a co-sponsor. You're providing the deals. You're communicating with everybody. Do
Right.
you have to be a physician to invest with you?
No, absolutely not. I had a title of my book that was The Doctor's Guide to Passive Real Estate
Gotcha.
Investing, and I realized, hey, that's not fair to exclude all the other busy professionals.
Yeah. There you
I'm
go.
happy to welcome anybody, generally accredited investors,
Genuinely
because
accredited. Yep.
the deals, I occasionally get one come across my desk that does have a few spots for non-accredited or sophisticated investors, but those are, you know, kind of few and far between.
Yeah.
So yeah, my target market is really accredited investors with W-2 jobs mostly. I mean, actually, there's plenty of self-employed folks out there who are, very savvy business people, and those are also folks that I love to talk to as well. They're easy. They understand quickly how this type of thing works.
In the accreditation piece, it doesn't matter if you have a W-2 or self-employed, the requirements are the same, right? It's just net worth and or annual income. That's how that's calculated, right?
Correct. Correct. Yeah, not in the net worth, not including your home of $1 million,
Yep.
and 200K income as a single person, or 300K as a married couple. Most of the deals that I'm involved in are 506B, the Regulation D 506B, and they are, it's a checkbox. It's kind of an honor system that you just
Yeah.
attest that you are accredited. We've done a couple 506C deals as well, and those ones require you to use a third party software to verify your income,
You have to prove that the
yeah,
checkbox you're making is accurate, which
or a letter from your CPA. That's okay for folks who are, like docs and stuff. But those folks who just have a lot of investments, it's not as easy to prove that.
it
So
is not. You're right. It's
yeah.
we were talking about this morning in my mastermind where a guy, he's in his first year of hitting that accredited piece. Him and his wife did very well last year, and he was like, "How does it change things?" And I was like, "Well, for me, it hasn't changed anything because the deals that I've looked at have been the 506B,
Hmm.
um, and I just haven't done a 506C deal yet. I've looked at one, but I didn't like it, so to
Hmm.
speak. And I told him, I said, "Here's the thing," and I wanted to get your input on this too, but maybe this is because my circle is improving or the folks that I'm around, but there seems to be a lot of syndicators kind of everywhere now. Maybe this has always been the case and I'm just now tapping into this world. But what I'm seeing is the ones that I have relationships with, their minimum participation level keeps going up and up, right? Which is good for them because they don't have to deal with so many different investors.
Yeah.
But I told him, I said, so it's not an accreditation thing that worries, or not necessarily worries me, that's going to keep you from doing a deal. It's when you're starting building those relationships, what is that minimum investment going to be?
Hmm.
And are you starting to see that as well, or on these deals that you're working with, or no?
No, the operators that I work with generally have a 50K minimum, but for repeat investors, it's 25.
Oh,
So,
okay.
so they'll go down to 25, which is nice, especially for folks who are just kind of dipping their toe in the water and testing
Yeah.
it out. Of course, like I tell people, if you've got the money, put 50K into a deal, because the $133 that you're going to get per month just doesn't seem like very much when you put in 25K.
Yeah. Yeah.
It doesn't move the
Right.
needle, it's just like, ugh, kind of like whatever, but if you put in 50 or 75, 100, you start to see some real money coming in passively.
Yeah. And I have an issue with the word passive, but I'm getting to appreciate it. I To me, nothing's truly passive, right? It's
Sure.
more passive than saying managing your own single family homes,
Yeah.
right? So, investing in these larger apartment, and we were able to do participate in two this last year.
Mhm.
That I told the guys this morning that were on the call, I was like, I found my new addiction, and it is
Mhm.
being a limited partner in apartment
That's what I'm
syndication.
saying. That's what I started to.
It's a really good thing, because I've done very little work to receive those distributions.
Yeah, it's not truly passive, but the active nature is limited to reviewing the deal
Yeah,
and doing your due diligence on the deal, and then going over the bank and wiring your money.
yeah,
And after that, you can choose to review the financial statements, and you can choose to dig into it if you want to, but you're going to get a monthly update, a quick email that you can just kind of glance at. And like, okay, the world's not falling apart.
yeah,
Awesome. Don't need to worry about that. But um, the other benefit though of working with like my pool of investors is that um, once you trust the person who's your connection to these deals, your level of due diligence can go down a little bit, because
yeah,
you're not being approached by the operator themselves. And in a way, that arm's length is a good thing, because I don't have as much skin in the game. I mean, I usually invest my own money when I have it. When I have capital, I'll invest it, meaning that I'm aligned with the investors. But it's not my baby either. I
yeah,
can go to a different operator. So if I think it's a good deal, that's been another set of eyes that's not totally attached to the deal. Whereas directly with the operator, of course, they want to, get investors.
yeah, absolutely. All right, Vanessa, I want to make sure to give you the last say here. We're wrapping up on time. What
Mhm.
are the anything else you want to leave us with, and what is the best way for people to connect with you and find out more about the VMD investing and your book?
Sure. Easy to connect with me by email, vanessa@vmdinvesting.com. And my website, vmdinvesting.com, has a couple of sign up sheets. I have an investor club or legacy club. I'm going to be rebranding it, where I'd like to have folks that have been pre screened just be part of the club. And then you can just look at the open deals,
Yeah,
basically.
yeah,
Because at this point, I'm sure your audience knows, but Regulation D 506B means that you have to have a prior relationship, and you can't just send out the deals via email. So if you're someone who happens to be on a list and you keep getting actual investment summaries attached to the email, then maybe it's a 506C. Those ones can be publicly advertised and just given to anybody. As far as
yeah.
your fees, yeah.
And with those things, if you're, and I'm sure you're in the same spot, you've talked to your legal team and gotten their advice on all that, because those rules are gray for a reason, right? They're open for interpretation, and every lawyer is going to have a little bit different twist on what you can and can't do, right? So, but I think it's really cool that you're engaging that to
Hmm.
have a relationship with those folks
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
well. So that's pretty cool. Hey, one thing I wanted to ask you, and I think this may have been my second question earlier. I've now remembered it. Um, are they changing the rules when it comes to accredited investors? Are they shifting that stuff? I heard some kind of noise about shifting. It's not as much about your net worth as it is something else. And have
I
you
haven't heard that.
okay?
No, no.
All right. Well, it's the government, so who knows?
Exactly. That could be happen next month or in 10 years. Who
It
knows?
absolutely could.
Yeah.
Vanessa, thank you very much for joining me today and having this conversation. I really loved it. I look forward to diving into your book some more, and I will let you know when this comes out. Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I appreciate it.
By the way, I wanted to make sense or make light of this. So not only you're a physician, which we talked about the perception of work-life balance, you're a wife, you're a mom, and you're a real estate investor. So if anybody's listening, they're thinking, "Hey, I don't have time for this." Look in the mirror. You've got time. You just need to put the remote down and go find some stuff to do. Right?
And
It's incredible.
delegate is the magic word as well.
I am learning that. I need to learn that a little more. But yes, you're
Yeah,
correct. Yep.
yeah, yeah,
Delegation is awesome.
exactly.
Thank you. I will talk to you soon.
Okay, take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey, four things before you get out of here today. Number one, thank you for watching. Sincerely appreciate that. It helps with our ratings with YouTube and all that. And along those lines, speaking of helping with ratings, if you could just hit that like button for me, the little thumbs up, and also subscribe. If you're not already a subscriber, if you are a subscriber, thank you very much. I appreciate that. We are trying to grow the presence here on YouTube, and this is you liking, subscribing, and commenting helps with that whole algorithm piece. So let us know. It also helps me know what kind of content you're interested in. And in the comment section, if you just list that one golden nugget that you took away from today's episode, that would really help me out and engage. Right, I'll get an alert when you say something about the episode today when you make it in the comment, and I will respond to you right away. And it'll be me. It won't be anybody else. I promise. And also, I can't let you get out of here today. This is point number 3, I think. I can't let you get out here today, but highlighting this affiliate for us, Deal Check, incredible piece of software. Whether you're doing burrs, you're doing fix and flips, you're doing buy and holds, and buy and holds is single family and multifamily. I used it last week to underwrite an 8-unit deal, and I'm going to be using it for any of our properties up to a certain number. Probably after the 50 range, I get my real heavy duty calculator out that I'll use that, but I'm also going to then take that and put it in the Deal Check because the graphs that and just the amount of data they put into the reports that you can provide banks. Hell, I even sent one to a seller. I was like, here's the number. I know you're probably not going to be happy about it, but here's why I sent it to you, because I'm trying to hit these numbers, and we're currently negotiating on that deal. So we'll see what happens. But we have an affiliate code in the description below. Make sure you use that. If you don't, just go to dealcheck.io from any browser, and you can be able to sign up there. Signing up is free, right? So you can use it. You only start paying for it once you need to start unlocking pieces of software. For what I do with it, I'm a buy and hold guy, so from what I need, it's $5 a month when I use the promo code W2CAP. So make sure, whether you use our affiliate link or not, that you use that promo code, because it's going to give you 25% off either the monthly subscription you sign up for or the annual. They've got 2 different options. The annual gives you a little bit better discount anyway. The fourth thing is Operation Underground Railroad. If you've listened to anything that I've been doing for the last year, you know that I highly support this organization. Again, the promo code W2CAP, you can text that to 41404, and you're going to get an immediate response link back to our fundraiser page so you can see what we're doing for them. But also from there, you can hop over and see what all they're about. Highly recommend you follow these guys on social media and everything like that, because they're just ridding the world of not only human trafficking, but more specifically child sex trafficking, which is the most disgusting thing that I can ever think of, that this goes on. My heart goes out to those kids, and that's why I support them, right? Having 3 of my own, I just can't imagine them being in that environment. I'll give you a bonus. Okay, that was the 4 things, right? So like, follow, subscribe is number 1. 2, Deal Check was number 2, I think. I'm losing count here. OUR was number 3. The 5th, whatever the next number is, the 4th or 5th thing, is my hat has been crooked this entire time, and I'm not going to do anything about it. It's fine. It's okay. All right. On a serious note, let's get to work.